Do it.
Unique New York.
Hey, everybody. It is not Thursday, but Friday, February 25th. We're a day late and a dollar short and all other stuff. But hey, it's still the Prove It Live podcast.
Indeed.
And I am Dr. Kevin McGovern, and I'm here today with my very handsome co-host, Mr. Mike Frary. Mike, take it away, buddy.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for that fantastic introduction.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. This is
I'm
the
glad every week I can
podcast.
deliver that to you.
I'm actually, you can't see, but I'm here joined by my son's with me today. He's playing video games alongside our podcast today, but he's going to keep it quiet for us, right?
All right.
Oh boy. So I am Mike Frary. This is the Prove It Live podcast from the Farm Baseball Performance Institute, along with the aforementioned Dr. Kevin McGovern of Perfect Motion Sports Therapy, and our fabulous producer, Ryan Gagne-Frutis. And we do have a fun top of the hour. I actually have some surprises, I think, for my co-host and producer here on one of the top of the orders topics. But so before we get into that, like today, I might get a little heated today with our main topic because this is something that's important, something we talk about quite a bit. But
take a breath.
Personal experience now of something. Yes, I'm gonna have to take
both of us. For both of us, yes, yeah.
Without further to-do, Ryan Gagne-Frutis. So sorry, top of the order. What do we got?
Gagne-Frutis.
So, as many folks obviously know, the MLB players are still locked out. Spring training should have started a few weeks back at this point. Today, actually, within the last hour, MLB labor talks have basically canceled spring training games through at the very earliest Monday, March 8th. So there won't be any games played until at least March 8th. If there's no deal on a labor agreement struck by Monday is a hard deadline that they've set. MLB will postpone the start of the Major League Baseball season. So we will miss games. That will be impacted. Players will not receive full salary. So there's
that was my question. If they're locked out, they're not getting paid, right? No.
Nope.
Even though they got guaranteed contracts, they're not getting paid.
Well, no, because they're refusing to play. I mean, that's no matter what side you're on, that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So so that's where things stand currently. I mean, some progress was made today in terms of talking about like the amateur draft lottery, things like that. Go on. Before you
go further, like how late are they looking to start the season if they don't reach an agreement by the deadline? Did they say?
It did not say. Well, let me
just a general postponement.
We get
it's not going to start on time. GFY.
Right. Exactly. Now there's no date for when it would be, like when it would commence, basically. Right. But opening day is scheduled for March 31st, which in and of itself is preposterous.
It is,
but
preposterous.
that's a whole other
kind of early
topic.
This is
kind of, yeah.
I don't hear. Maybe I'm just not listening to the right, channel, so to speak. But I don't hear people talking about how potentially dangerous this is to the sport of baseball. I've heard some people say
it's very low publicized at all.
Very low, right?
Yeah, like you don't hear much about it at all.
There's some other stuff going on in the world right now.
There is,
but.
But that's the other bummer of it. It's like the sports are usually, supposed to be the distraction from all that garbage,
Right. Is there something going on?
Yeah, there's something about some country.
Something,
who knows?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
so what were they talking?
We touched upon this, at the end of the, after the World Series was over and the first couple of days of November, whenever it was, we had our podcast and we were talking about, the lockout going into effect. And we did call out the fact that if games ever were to get postponed because of that, which at the time we were all like, there's plenty of time, something will happen, right? But we all agreed that, if it were to go that route and things were to get postponed, it would be, I mean, catastrophic might be a strong word, but damn near close, to the effects of that would take place in the game of baseball. I mean, we've talked about before how it's somewhat of a dying sport, right? There are always these talks every year about implementing different rules changes to keep fans more engaged and to do all this sort of thing. So any type of negative publicity and, especially losing games, for the season, because like Kevin likes to say, millionaires and billionaires are arguing over money, right? It's just it's going to have a negative effect.
I don't even think it's the negativity. I mean, look, they got past. Of course, COVID helped us a little bit, but they got past the whole Houston Astros cheating scandal. That didn't really affect people much. Even going back to the steroid era, which sort of saved baseball after the last strike, right? 1995, It was, right? And so they, I think fans are willing to look the other way in certain things like that, but I don't think that they can survive another lockout. I just can't. I mean, they got to figure this out quickly. And that was the thing. I do remember talking about that back in November, and I was confident, but that was under the assumption that both sides realized how detrimental this could be to not only Major League Baseball, but the sport of baseball, because this does have a trickle effect. It really does, so to the kids being interested in the sport. And so obviously we don't want to see anything negative happen. But anyway, so that's that on the lockout. It's a bore fest. All right, what else we got there? I'll tell you, the baseball shift.
All right. Oh, our friend Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo's dead.
Oh, Joey Gallo. My bad.
Yeah. So the he came out with, and I don't have the tweet right in front of me. I'm sure our always prepared producer has it up there.
Oh, he said something about how can I hit doubles and triples when there's 6 guys in the outfield.
6 guys in the outfield.
But hit is the key word since he doesn't make contact.
Right. It's very, I mean, he's he's definitely like the wrong guy to be, the spokesperson, what's the advocate for, the non-shift version.
Twice a week, you can't send the ball over the shortstop's head. I mean, come on.
Well, so here's what happened. This is where I thought it maybe a little of surprises. I'm kind of with him. All right. I kind of agree with him. There has to be some sort of rules, I feel like, right? It's like, I'm
on board with that.
Yeah.
Infielders should be in the infield.
There's guys that are absolutely, I'm trying to, wow. All my terms for crushing a ball are vulgar. I'm just learning. Guys would absolutely barrel balls, crush them, right? On the nose. And, it's a one hopper to a guy out in shallow right field, easy out. And again, look, they want to, I can see both sides of this, but I do see where he's coming from. And it's almost like, with today's metrics, you can pull up a guy in a database, Joey Gallo, right? Whoever it might be. And you can see, okay, where he hits the ball. This is where he hits the ball off of righties. This is where he hits the ball off righties on breaking pitches, inside, outside, lefties, day, night, whatever. And you can adjust accordingly and you can put people there. So the other side is that as well, learn how to be a better hitter, learn how to have more barrel control, put the ball where they're not, etc. Right? No, that's easier said than done. I think that generally speaking, I personally like a nice pitcher's duel, a nice low scoring game. Defense, I like to see sacrifice bunts, things like that. But I think it's safe to say the general public, the average baseball fan likes to see offense. And so I think that's where there's a bit of an issue. Now, Joey Gallo, as you mentioned earlier, Kevin, it's not so much that there's 6 guys in the outfield. It's that there's a catcher.
Yeah.
And he keeps catching it when the pitcher throws it.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean,
last year Pete Rose said he's like, how does someone who doesn't play every day strike out 213 times? Ray Charles wouldn't strike out that much.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know much about his playing career, and obviously when he got traded to the Yankees, I mean he literally probably lost, I'd say 6 or 8 games to the Yankees, like just getting up in these crucial situations, even this goes back to the whole stats of all right, he got on base, But when you're up with first and third and he walks, okay, next guy pops up, great, he got on base, but he's there to drive a run in and he couldn't do it, or he strikes out, or he's
also not
really
fast.
Bad. No, he's a really bad baseball player.
You don't pay a guy that kind of money to just get on first base and to be the easy front side of a double play for the next guy that's up, right? He should be standing on second or third or rounding the bases. That's why a guy like him gets paid the money he does. But the strikeout numbers, it's another topic that we could get into. We all know that, they're going up every year. I think we went back to 1997 or something, and they're going up every single year. One of the things we'll talk about today may have something to do with that. The approach on hitting and, teaching the swing, etc. I also just think that also pitchers are getting better. Pitchers are throwing harder. You got more fresh arms in the game than you ever had. I mean, starters won't go past 5 innings. You know what I mean? 5 innings, almost like a CG these days for a pitcher. So, right. And you got middle relievers throwing 100 miles an hour. It's insane, but yeah. So anyway, I do think, I understand, but look, if you're a manager and you're paid to win games and you're doing your homework on guys, and you're doing homework on teams, and you're putting your defenders, and you look like a genius when you do that too, right? You put as a coach, 4 steps to your glove side. What? I'm like almost on first base. Just go, right? And then boom, the next ball is a 1-hopper to him, right? You look like you're a genius. So, and there is obviously intelligence involved in that, but I don't know. I'm also just a bit of a baseball traditionalist and think that there almost should be, like set positions in a way. It should be a wide box. It should be a wide range, right? But you're right. Like Ryan, you said, you got it now where there's like 2 guys in the infield.
Right? I think a reasonable request would be to have if you're one of the 4 infielders, actual infielders, first, second, third, short, right? You should have to be on the dirt. Right. Or, turf fields that have like the white line going out, you have to be within that kind of that range, right? Or maybe even, give it a few steps beyond that, however you want to do it. Right.
That's a great idea. Actually, that just gave me an idea. Like treat that almost like a line of scrimmage in football, right? Like you got to start on the dirt. Yep. You want to get to the outfield as soon as you got to be running.
Yeah, it's right. Like seven men in the line of scrimmage, right?
Yep. Not 6, 7.
Yeah. Whether you want to have, the shift where you bring the third baseman over to play the gap between first and second, what if you want to do that, whatever. Because again, I agree with you. There should professional hitters, nonetheless, should be able to have some barrel control, right? Yeah. And stop every now and then, put a bunt down the third baseline. They'll stop doing that against you, right? Yeah. But if you're gonna move guys over, fine. But I actually do agree with that. Infielders should be on the infield and not 40 feet out into right field or left field, right?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, because you could argue. I mean, you already see it, at the college level. Not so much anymore, but when bunting was more prevalent. There's a defensive bunt play where you have the second baseman basically standing on top of the plate, right? It's like all the way in, and people moved over. So, yeah.
You talk about bunting used to be more prevalent. It's gonna go down even more, with the universal DH now.
Maybe, but if on the topic we're talking about, if there's 8 guys in the outfield, maybe you know what I mean. Could probably get 2 bags out of a bunt. I remember, Jason Giambi used to do it really well. They'd put the shift on him. The third base would be all the way over, like almost double play depth at the shortstop position. Shortstop would be behind the bag. Or he'd just kind of half swing it right down the line. Easy double. You get guys that, David Ortiz like to try to hit through it. Ted Williams was the originator of the shift was for Ted Williams, right? That's when it began. And he seemed to handle it pretty well. Batted like 800. Right. Yeah. Okay. So we shall see. And that's the other thing too, the DH. I know we did talk about that last time, but that's going to be pretty interesting. Yeah. I think it's going to be pretty interesting not having that sort of auto out, but yeah. All right. So.
All right, Mikey, Kevin, take it away.
So our topic today.
Don't get fired up.
Well, I'm not, but I also
fired up. We'll keep out the names to protect the innocent, right? So we're gonna do.
maybe.
But this is but what Mike's gonna talk about is a real life, actual situation which both of us are involved in.
Yes. And so a former pitcher of mine, okay, that was in my program and for years, and I stay pretty close with most of my students, players, as they play in college and beyond, and a lot of them come back to coach for me. And one such player was having an issue throwing overhand. So he's still working a couple nights a week. He goes to a local college, plays at a local college here near the Boston area, and he's coming in and we throw BB to our guys. It's that time of year where our young kids, they got to start seeing some overhand, and he's always unable to do it because his arm is hurting. It's killing him. And I'm like, well, why is it killing you? He's like, well, I threw a bullpen today or yesterday or whatever. And I'm like, well, how many pitches you throw? 25. Okay. Your arm shouldn't be killing you. First of all, your arm shouldn't be sore at all. You should have soreness. It should be in areas that are not attached to your shoulder, number one. Okay. And I'm sure, Kevin, you can talk about that more. But his arm was killing him. I don't know. I'm not a doctor like our resident here, Kevin McGovern, but I've been around him long enough and I've been around the sport long enough to know where certain pain, how it translates or what injury that might be. And I didn't like it. And so I said, hey man, you might have to take a break. You gotta, if you're really sore, if you're really not sore, if you're hurt, and you're experiencing pain like that, you got to stop throwing. Does your coach know? And he goes, nah, if I tell, I'm afraid to tell him I'm trying to make this spot and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, it's no good because what are you going to do? You're going to go out there, you're going to throw with pain, and then you're going to get an actual real injury. You might tear something, God forbid. And what good is that to the coach? What good is that to the team? What good is that for you? And so anyway, so to make a long story short, I'm really working on him to go and see Kevin. I go, hey, why don't you, see my partner and have him take a look at you and see if he can help you. Well, lo and behold, about a week goes by. We finally get him in there, and he was supposed to come in on a Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, it was a Monday. And he had a practice that day. The practice was
right. It was changed.
That's correct. And that's how this all came about. So the practice was in the afternoon. He was going to come see Kevin earlier, and nobody's none the wiser, even though I think the coach should be involved, right? The practice gets moved. So he now has to tell his coach that, hey, I might not be there. I really got to go get my arm checked out. It's really hurting me. It's been bothering me for some time. This is my old travel ball coach and, one of my instructors and his PT partner. And the response that he showed me, so he sent me a copy of the text that he got back from this.
Are you going to read the text? You got to read the text.
I can read it.
You have to. Yeah. Now this is, as Mike's looking this up, this is a kid telling his coach that his arm is hurting and he can't pitch and needs to see a specialist. Whoever that specialist is. Wasn't a dentist.
That's right.
A specialist for this arm.
Okay. So just for clarity. So he, this player of ours, he texted his coach and said, hey, I've got some not so great news. I got to share. It's about my arm. I know it's a weekend, but can you please give me a call? And he did not hear back from the coach. And so he tried calling the coach, got no answer, left a message. He gets a text a few hours later. It says, I just got your voicemail and I'm not talking on the phone about this, but I will be clear. Be at practice tomorrow. Okay. Now this is after he's explained to this coach that his arm is.
He's hurt.
He's hurt. He can't throw without pain. Okay. I do not care what some AAU coach, well, not an AAU, by the way. Side note, I do not care what some AAU coach thinks of some random video. And so one of the things is, we saw a video of his pitching, and I sure as blank don't care what some guy that I've never heard of and you don't know besides a first name thinks of off of a video. That's Kevin. They're not your coaches and have absolutely zero input with our team or decisions. You will be at practice, and sure as heck, the other word, will not miss practice to meet for something as ridiculous as this, something as ridiculous as the health of your arm, the reason you're on this team. Okay.
I mean,
And
to
so-
me, that's a fireable offense right there.
Hey, I look at it this way, and I said this, I don't want to say his name, but I said, hey, if you have to go out there now and you have to pitch and you do tear something, that's on the school at this point. Like you've informed about this injury, you've told them about it. It's reckless. It's beyond dangerous. It's
Right.
beyond negligent. It's flat out reckless. And I mean, here's the kid doing the right thing, right? He's going to his coach. He's saying, "Hey, number one, I'm hurt. Number two, I'm trying to take care of it. Going to have it looked at." And by the way, and he explained to him on the phone that one of the reasons he was going to you, Kevin, is you have the history of this guy that supposedly needed Tommy John surgery, didn't. You rehabbed him, so his take is, I'm going to try to not miss any time here. Hopefully, I can work with this guy and not miss a beat and be able to pitch on this team. And that's the type of response that he got. And
so I pick it up. So you send me a copy of this tweet, right? Or not tweet with the extra call. Text. Right?
SMS text.
So then
facsimile.
I send this gentleman, this coach, I'm looking for the exact what I sent him.
You sent him an email?
I sent him an email. I can't really find it, but I basically said, Coach, my name is Kevin McGovern. I named the player. We have an appointment tomorrow to check out his arm for ongoing arm pain.
By the way, I just want to interject. Kevin graciously moved the appointment, so there was no conflict with the practice.
No conflict. Yeah. For ongoing arm pain. Here's my website. Here is information about me. And to date, so that was 6 days ago. I still have not received any sort of communication back at all. Not even an FU, nothing. So,
way to look out for your player.
Yeah. So now, I don't necessarily know how the medical hierarchy is at a college. This is a D3.
Yep, it's a D3 state school.
But there is a trainer. I'm sure there's some doctor who, on his resume puts that he's the team doctor for so and so. But Mike was there. I evaluate this kid, and this kid's not even in shape enough to play baseball. And what I mean by that, he has got so many glaring movement issues. He has a spine that's like rebar. He has
one of the most inflexible people ever, but he's working on that.
Yeah. So his whole body the whole body is one piece. I mean, it contributes to what but all this stuff that this should have been addressed by, the team physician, the trainer. Is there, off-season conditioning? Is there some sort of movement test that these kids take, or some measurement to say, gee, I don't think so-and-so is healthy. We need to work on this, regardless of the arm, just general preventative. This kid couldn't bend. I bet $1 million he could not bend over and touch his toes, and you're supposed to be playing baseball at a high level, college is a high level. And, yep. Then of course we looked into his arm and elbow, and, his elbow is hanging by a thread. I mean, I would say that if a 10 out of 10 is the next pitch he throws going to be a Tommy John, he's probably a 7. I mean, he's bad, and he's got a pitching coach that I'm not sure what the advice was given. So, back and forth. I mean, we've got a starving college student, 21 years old. I'm a concierge level practice, so I don't really take insurance. So my rates are, probably the same rate that Mike charges. It is probably the same rate Mike charges for a hitting lesson. But, I told him what it was and couldn't afford it and blah, blah, blah. And, I basically asked him, I'm like, all right, fine. You've got to get help at your school. You've got to get help. His response was, I've tried that. It has been ice and take ibuprofen. I'm like, no, that's not. He's like, yeah. And then, I think I mentioned this last podcast or the one before that, at my 35th high school reunion, whatever it was, I met my buddy's kid pitched in a Division I school, and they were like, oh yeah, dude, you should always have arm pain. Just keep taking ibuprofen. Just keep taking this. Like, no. So that was how the school dealt with what I think is an incredibly serious arm injury. And my question is this just like an anomaly, this school? Is this happening everywhere? Is this happening on all divisions? I mean, we see it in Major League Baseball where obviously injury rates through the roof, and this is really bad.
I can say this. All right, couple things. So number one, it is a smaller school. It's D3. They don't have the resources that some of the bigger D1 schools have. So we get that. But I think that that's all the more reason that, that this particular coach should be behind the player, taking his own. And thankfully, he has resources. He has someone he can go to that will help him. I don't, you mentioned like the team physician. I don't think that exists at this place, right? Yeah. The trainers at these places, and God bless them, I know they're doing their best, but a lot of them they're very young. They're just getting into, they don't have a ton of experience.
Their first job, probably.
Right. Yep. And, I can say this, one of his, the advice that he's got, so to speak, he told me that even after, because Kevin did do one session with him, right? As a favor to me.
Yeah, said, by the way, he threw pain-free.
100% pain-free that day, okay? And so he's been working on the things that, that Kevin showed him that day. And he goes, look, it's already feeling better, and blah, blah. He says, I don't have the pain there anymore. He says, all I have is a tiny bit of pain in the shoulder. And he says, which from what I've been told is normal. Like, you should have pain in your shoulder. And of course I'm like, no, you should not. Right. But again, and what the response and like the vitriol that in which he like spat that text back at him really pissed me off, because otherwise I would give
angry. Like, how dare you be hurt?
Right. And, I want to give the benefit of the doubt because I know a lot of like amazing D3 coaches. Right.
Absolutely.
There's another D3 school, in this state that has a pitching coach that they don't even know what they have. I mean, they have like this kid's going to be whatever he wants to be and coach at whatever level. Ryan's nodding his head because he knows what I'm talking about. They're so spoiled with this guy. So there's really great coaches at that level. And there's guys that care about their kids. And I know a bunch of them. But I feel like this, while it's not super prevalent, I don't think in the game, it's not an anomaly. It's not, because I had something similar happen a couple of years ago as well, and that was a Division II coach.
This guy needs fired. I mean, he's got no business coaching. I mean, for any coach, it should be, no matter what, to protect your players from whatever. From the other team, but COVID, whatever. We want to keep our players healthy. We want to protect what's in the best interest of the kid. Not only playing baseball for 4 years, but after that, what like you said, Mike. Look, you've got to get this fixed because not only now your baseball career, but hey, maybe you want to throw wiffle balls to your kid,
right? Or batting practice,
or batting practice, right? Or anything like that. So that whole thing was just really, it sickened me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And so look, putting your players first, all right, or putting your players' health first, at least, that's not, it doesn't conflict with the team first mentality, because here's the kicker. And here's, according to the player, he assumes while his coach got so angry, he says, well, he goes, he's probably just really angry because, 14 pitchers, that was the number. I don't know if that was when he threw out there is accurate. He goes, 14 pitchers are all saying their arms hurt. Well, you don't say. No problem. Nothing to see here. Right. You could be searching out people with expertise or people who are willing to help at a minimum, look at some of these kids and maybe help them. And it's really too bad because the resources are out there, and especially these kids that, like this kid, he's got resources.
And Mike, and you know this, if the guy emailed me back, oh my God, thank you. It's been going on. We don't know. Like, hey, okay, great. Any other players hurt? Do you need me to come in? Do you need me to come and check these guys out? I would do that in a heartbeat.
Sure. And I'd be happy to, consider that school too, when we have all of our kids that are
right
on with college rosters as they graduate.
You've made an enemy out of a medical provider and a amateur coach who could be a feeder to players to come to your university.
That's literally what we do is we move kids up, we develop kids to get into college. And so here's I thought you were going this way with it. I would say this as well, Kevin. I don't know how you feel about this, but I would even be okay with it. Let's say he emailed you back and said, hey, thanks for the email. I really appreciate the offer, but we have a protocol here, and these are the steps that we have to go. He's got to go to his pitching coach and the trainer, and then maybe to someone like you. While we may disagree with it, at least there's a plan. At least there's something for him to go to.
Not to show up at practice, or I'm kicking you off the team.
Basically, and he was terrified of being thrown off the team. And, throwing hurt every single day, throwing bullpens. He's only throwing 25 pitches. He can't move his arm afterwards. And, of course, he does need some mechanical work because, they changed him.
But he's fixable.
Well, they dropped him down. They started teaching the inverted W. And that's another thing. And I know we're running out of time. We're going to get to our why would you do that? But it's a very common thing for a lot of these D3 schools. And again, they don't have the budget, so it's not, I don't blame them for it, but they'll use apps, that are made by, places like Driveline or Tread or places like that. And, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think that without having coaches there to guide these kids through it and make sure they're doing things the proper way and throwing with proper arm mechanics, we're asking for more trouble. And unfortunately, I know all too well, too many injuries or injured players at the D3, D2 level. So D1 too. D1 just happens to have better resources. So
sad story.
We'll keep you updated on that. Hopefully he stays healthy.
Stays healthy. Yeah. All right.
Is it time?
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. We got a couple of them, and one of them I really want to spend some time on.
Yeah, we're gonna spend some time on this.
Yeah. All right. Well, give me the drum roll.
I just did.
Why would you do that?
You got drums behind you. Do the roll there.
I do. I don't have them on though.
Why would you do that?
All right.
Wait.
So we've got a couple goofy ones.
Is that a bird? Do you have a canary?
I don't know what it is. It's like a cricket.
Oh, okay.
Cricket.
With all the supply line shortages, if anyone needs PVC pipe for their home, we have found it.
Yeah. You're not going to find it at Home Depot. All sold out.
It's at this batting cage here.
Local batting cages.
Do we have any idea what the hell this is trying to accomplish?
I have no idea. The only thing I can think of,
PVC pipe, is it given some sort? What is Mike? What do you think?
That's my bigger question.
What do you guys think's the purpose of this?
I can tell you. All right, so I'm going to take a stab at the actual.
So for people who can't, it's basically these guys have what appears to be, I don't know, 6 feet of a thin, like probably 1 inch PVC pipe.
Yep.
And they're taking like 1-2 steps and then swinging it. With the only amazing thing is here is in this cramped area, no one's been hitting the head yet. But that's
not yet. Well, we don't know that too, as I'm sure that wouldn't have made the edit. You know what I mean? So, all right. All fairness, I'm trying to take a stab at the drill. What they're trying to do, I think they're doing walk-up swings. These are what we call walk-up swings. And, walk-up swings are really what's the
purpose of a walk-up?
I'm getting there.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So the idea of a walk-up swing is really more of a warm-up, right? If you're hitting off the tee and you got, a player especially a youth player that has trouble again on the inside part of his back foot, you have them step. And it also kind of puts their lower half in motion. So you're like right, left, right, you turn. So that's a walk. I don't love them, but we do use them from time to time. Again, drills should be specific to the individual and the individual's flaw or weakness, area of weakness that if that drill can benefit them, then you use it. So, but this is not the case. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, all with the PVC, all doing the same drill. And by the way, they're not really doing the walk up as you would walk up. When you walk up, you do a walk up drill. It should be like a cross step, right? So your right foot front steps in front of your left foot.
Okay. Yeah.
They're not. They're sort of shuffling almost as some infielders would to after they've fielded the ball to throw it at first. So that's that. That's my step. Okay. So I'm not going to try to poop on it and entirely, but I don't understand, Kevin, the everyone's using the PVC now. Everybody.
Well, I think it comes from what I think is the second one. It's our friend.
Yep.
Richard.
Not to be a hypocrite, but I do have one around here, but I use it for that one thing, which I showed you, Kevin, which was, this thing. And
yeah, I thought you can do giant spitballs out of it, but okay.
You can, if you could.
I think our next,
ninja
for the person who's on next, our friend Richard, uses.
Is that our next one?
Right. I don't know. Is that the next one? Queued up? Richard. Yeah. Now, as we cue this one up, a baseball travels really fast. And and moves all over the place. One thing that we might need to be able to hit it, regardless of your swing, is your eyes. And you probably should have the least amount of head movement, I'm thinking, right? To be able to see the ball.
It's good theory.
So, yeah. So
holds water.
So in this video, we have PVC pipe now being held in the middle while there is there's a multi-planar movement of
all right, go back. Wake up here.
Of this kid who dips his back shoulder, then rotates his body, and then does the snap it while our friend Teacher Man is teaching this. And this is
all right.
I mean, this is child abuse.
Here's my major bone that I'm picking with this. Okay. So in the debate with Teacher Man here, and he's doing
our debate. Yes.
That time he dipped his elbow, then looked up in the eye. So he's dropped his eye level and then looked to the sky. So that's impressive.
Yeah.
In the debate with he and our friend Jeff Fry there, if you watch that debate, I don't know if any of our listeners have, but we covered it pretty extensively.
I think in episode 50, this is 60, 57, I think. Right?
Yeah. So you would walk away from that thinking that Teacher Man here wanted you to think, oh, the elbow thing. No. That's just like kind of part of what we do. And that's really just to, practice what the arm did, and that it's not that. And it's BS. Every clinic I've ever seen online of this guy, this is all he focuses on is this wacky, and again, he tells you the swing doesn't come from the hips, even though he turns his hips his head goes with it too.
Watch this.
Yeah. I mean, the head's all over the place.
No one can hit like this. No one can hit like this.
No one. And I love
the head is all over the place.
I love how he uses, guys like Aaron Judge or whoever. He'll use any big league hitter, really. I've seen him use pretty much everybody, saying that they do what he does. And again, it's the motion of the top hand delivering the barrel.
Look at this little kid. This kid's bending over at the waist, the elbow.
So the first motion, by the way, right? So Ryan, back up again. So the first motion they have this kid doing, okay, is
and please, we're not
he brings his elbow way back to the third base dugout. Then he drops his head and his shoulders. And then his next move, the third move, is to almost come forward underneath with his back elbow, his right elbow, his right-handed hitter. Now you see the
lower half's done nothing.
The lower half's done nothing. His right foot's not planted on the ground. His legs are straight. He's not in an athletic squat position, and the barrel hasn't moved. The barrel hasn't moved.
Oh my God.
It's not in the so. And again, this has nothing to do with the players. It's not the kid's fault. In fact, I always like to point out, give kudos to the kids because. Look, he's out there trying to better himself. You know what I mean? He doesn't know. That's why he's there. But it's also why, this sort of stuff is tragic that you're teaching this stuff. And
the headlines, by the way, the clip that you've got to type in says the foundation of the high level pattern. So this is a foundational movement.
So the foundation. If he were a building, it'd be on the 5th floor.
This is
That's the foundation.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is step
The
one.
foundation. If it's a 6th floor building, you're talking the foundation's on the 5th.
This is
Foundations in the penthouse.
Makes 0 sense.
There's no you can't hit a ball and your head's moving all over the place,
No.
regardless of what you think of the swing or
Well,
whatever.
that's the other thing too that we talked about, right? I mean, you can, and I've seen this, right? There's a lot that goes into hitting, right? Yes, the mechanics are a big part. And, there are people that naturally move their body in an athletic way and they use their hips and they're efficient. They use their muscles. And there's many, 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 many kids who do not. You have to teach it. But then there's also the mental side and the approach and all that. And there's also eyesight. It's real basic. If you can't see the ball, you're probably not going to hit it consistently. Probably.
See
right?
it, hit it. Not.
Again, right? So now you could have near perfect eyesight or even better than perfect eyesight. If you're moving your head along and you're looking up to here, right? If I'm looking up at the sky, trying to hit a ball that's at my thigh or knee level, tell me how that's possible. Right?
Well,
I mean,
you just don't get it, Mike. You don't get it. You don't get it.
I guess I don't. I mean,
Show him your film. You don't get it. Because every
It's
time he challenges guy, that's what he says. But yet,
I'm going to use the same film he does. I'm just going to.
I've yet to see him show someone in his game film doing exactly what he's teaching, actually making contact with the base. Maybe it is Joey Callow. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I would use the same videos that he uses. Only I'd go, yeah, see that? Yeah, that's what you should do. And yeah, see how he turned his hips? Yep, you should do that. To show guy, and that's the other thing too. Like the fact that he leans on these videos as it's like this all encompassing truth bomb, dude. You're saying they don't use their hips, or I think he might mention that. He may throw it in there as well. But you don't rotate around the spine. You rotate around the forearms, which makes zero sense whatsoever. Right, Ryan, go forward a little bit because I want to stay in this for one more second. I want to see him because the kid's actually doing basically what he was told
exactly
to do.
what he's telling him to do.
He's nailing it.
Duplicating it perfectly.
Yeah.
All right,
Nonsense.
I'm gotta get back there.
Where'd you go?
I was queuing up the next video.
Oh, all right, good. This will be quick. It says I'm viewing your screen, and you are. Is there a play button anywhere? There it is.
There he goes.
All right. So one more time. Back, down, drop the head, lift the head back up, drop the back elbow underneath the wrist. Barrel goes nowhere. Okay. Now, here's the guru, the cult leader.
Good.
And his is like his. I just want, so if people are watching, watch the head movement. For people who are not watching, dropping his eye level by a good 6 inches. So he kind of goes back, down, drops the eyes, and then as he's bringing his elbow underneath his wrist, his head turns and looks almost straight up into the sky, And nobody, this is the one thing I do have an issue with because I've seen him have clinics with like college coach, or not college, but high school coaches, and no one's calling him out. And you go, wait a minute, what about your eyes? I'd love to hear his answer for that. He'll probably say something silly like, "Oh, well, that'll sort of fix itself in the game." Or, really? Well, just practice something you don't want to do over and over again. Right. Let it fix itself in the game. Good Lordy. All right. What's the next one?
What's the next one? This should be good.
At least he's not in jeans.
No, that's true. He's not.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
Oh, we got someone in jeans?
Oh, we have someone in Levi's.
Oh, we do have someone in jeans.
Wranglers.
Yeah, this video is no jeans here.
Or Jabot.
I should hit play. That would be good.
I
Jabos.
know you get a pair of those. Oh, this is another. Okay. So this is the step in the tire, step out of the tire, step on the tire, and swing.
That's right.
All while keeping my shoulders.
None balance.
Yeah. And keeping your shoulders completely level, apparently.
So there's no load here, right? I mean, there's no. Not teaching a low. Knees are.
He turns the shoulders in. That's it.
Knees are drastically over the toes. Like this is. I mean,
I don't even know. I'd love to try to say what I think they're trying to do, and I have no idea. I don't know why is this PVC over his shoulder? I don't know.
Again, with all the supply chain, there's tons. I never thought batting cage to get PVC pipe.
So
and why is this like rapid fire?
well, here's the thing. All right, so that I don't know. Okay, but because everything's rapid fire. Because if you can do it at 100 miles an hour, you can do it slowly. All right. So
Mike's got it. What's this for, Mike?
nope. I thought that was outside the bat, and I'm like, okay, he's trying to keep the barrel. I don't know what he's doing. What is he doing with the PVC there?
I don't even keeping his
One of the
head off
comments.
shoulders, and he's got some weird. What about that finish? Like that weird looks really
Yeah,
weird.
it
Like
is.
right,
It's
it's
not
almost like
extending.
a golfer's finish.
Yeah, he's not really extending, but you know,
Yeah, this is. Don't do this.
The
At
thing
home.
is, the kid looks like he could actually be good with,
Yeah.
with proper.
Well, the kid's
instruction.
got good athleticism. You can see him moving.
yep. And he's you
Yeah.
know he uses his hips pretty well. Like he moves his body, right? He knows
Yeah.
how to move his body.
Just,
Could be better served working on something else, I think. But,
yeah, just don't try this at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We're gonna do one more.
Oh yeah,
One
do
más.
the last one with the rock chucker or skipper,
Yeah. So this
right? And
this
then
is how to not throw anything ever. Okay. So this if you're ever gonna learn something from this podcast, it's don't ever throw anything like this ever in your life.
Ever.
All right.
ever.
Okay.
Solid athletic position to start. Let's talk about
So
that.
solid.
Right. Killer Levi's 579. Is that a like the jeans from back in the day?
Yeah, something like that.
501, yeah, whatever it is.
Standing
yeah,
on one
so-
foot, turning. What? I mean, is this a joke or is it? You can hear the sound. Is this real? Like, or is this a joke?
I've seen something similar to this, so I believe this is real. He's got a sick action face, by the way, too.
Oh my
Um,
God.
I
Yeah.
just like to pause it at random spots to show like just how terrible this is.
Oh, look at that.
So for those not watching rather, as he releases the ball leaves his hand. His body is in a reverse C position.
See, looks like he's skipping rocks.
Elbow
Yeah.
so far out in front of his entire body here.
Uh,
Left
This is
shoulder and
gross.
another zip code. Yeah. So and this is Kevin. Why everybody like at the risk of injured player after injured player, it seems as though just someone like they have to reinvent the wheel. It has to be something completely new and different. And look at what I'm doing. No one's doing what I'm doing. Well, there's a good reason for that.
right.
You know.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's probably a weighted ball that he's throwing on top of it.
Right. Like it's
You're training to throw a ball in a manner that you would have to throw it maybe twice a season if you're rushing a play
Right.
and trying to make an out.
Right. From
Right.
third, right. Swing and bunt. Okay.
it's
Yeah.
Bases loaded. You got 2 outs. Got to make that final out right.
it's
Yeah.
so insane. Like Mike,
Yeah.
I think you mentioned both you guys mentioned a couple. Like I don't know when it was, but like the human body's been throwing things for years, right?
Yeah.
They threw rocks in war.
Since caveman days. Yeah.
We threw spears to get food.
Yep.
Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's obviously something. It's all this tinkering with the natural movement of the arm. It's causing all this stuff.
If some guy came out of the blue and just decided to throw a spear like this, it'd be thrown out of the tribe in a heartbeat.
right. Right. Like, dude, like, yeah. You're out of the Vikings.
You're
'cause-
on your own.
That
Yeah,
was
you're on your own, dude. We can't have spear people throwing you out.
Yeah.
Oh my
that was called
goodness.
the village idiot back then.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Unbelievable. I don't know, like sometimes, like we know we have those, and a lot of times you can see, like, all right, I see what they're trying to do here, right?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see. But
Yeah.
no.
But and it still goes back to like that first video of just 6 kids, basically doing hopscotch around the room, swinging a PVC pipe. Okay, you don't step like that when you're swinging, and that's not the tool that you swing, and you're not hitting a ball. Like, what are you actually doing? That's part of it. That's related to hitting, like nothing, right? And so the drills for drills is one that always drives me, even if the drill is like not a bad drill in and of itself. Like this,
I got a throw in one hanging. I mean, this is teacher man again, so it's not
Oh no.
Not reinventing
Another.
the wheel.
I don't think I can
With
take
what-
another.
with what we've
No.
seen here.
do it,
Do it. Okay.
do it,
But
Let me see
do
it.
it.
Don't do it.
Do
oh
it.
no. Oh, this.
I
Oh,
love this.
no. The hula hoop
I
and the
love this.
PVC.
That's a customized hula
With
hoop,
his head
folks.
in the hula hoop. His head, look at
Yes.
his head as it's moving.
Maybe I can see your halo.
This is just Look at this. Look at this. No one can hit a ball like this. No, dude.
That's what it looks like.
So if he really has a bat in his hands, where's
You would know what to do with himself.
Where's the barrel? But where's the barrel at this point? It's behind him.
It's hitting the catcher on the top of the head.
Right,
Boom.
he's tapping
Right
the
here.
catcher on the head.
Boom. Yep. Boom.
I figured it out. I know what he teaches here. I got it. This is how you increase your on-base percentage by
Tapping
getting
the catcher.
32 catcher's interferences in over
That's
the course
right.
of the season.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
There
That's
you go.
it.
It's all
That's
about
the
the
only.
OBP.
That's the only thing it is. Yeah.
Snap it. Oh man.
He made this. He sat
I
down
know.
and made that and said, watch, I'm going to make this. It's going to look like a halo. And I'm going to have something that represents a bat going through the middle. I don't think I've ever seen him hold a real bat, by the way.
No.
Imagine
the
being an
closest-
adult and going to a store and being like, "Hey, I'm going to buy a hula hoop today."
I'm gonna
Yeah.
snap it.
That's what I want to do.
So hey, just to put today in perspective, I don't think there's a person on earth that likes to be injured or hurt. So coaches, parents, when a player, your son, your daughter comes to you and says, "Hey, something's bothering me," go through the steps, get him or her evaluated, to make sure that something's not catastrophic, especially in overhand throwing. I know I've mentioned this before. If you're a bad hitting instructor or a kid goes to a bad hitting instructor, they go like Joey Callow, 0 for 35 with 34 strikeouts. When you see a bad pitching instructor, sometimes that the end result of that is an operating table. And we want to avoid that at all costs, because there's just way, 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 way too many injuries. And it's bad. It's bad, really bad. So
if I could
listen to your kid.
If I could interject too, it goes beyond baseball, right? I mean, depending on the injury, I don't think a Tommy John would do this unless it was a catastrophic, failure on the surgical part. But there's, torn labrum. There's a possibility you can't throw BP to your kid. You can't play catch with him. So this goes beyond. If there's
That's great. That's a great point, Mikey.
Right. I mean, carpentry. You won't be able to swing a hammer. There's lots. It can affect you in a lot other ways down the road. So let's make sure, because if we're not looking at like our, the coaches that, like myself, that have known these kids since they were really young and help them through the career, and parents, because look, unfortunately, there are going to be, college coaches, high school coaches, college coaches, that really just know that they have you for a few years and then they're on to a new group of kids. And I don't think that that's the norm. Right. But if you run into one of those exceptions, there's enough of them out there. You got to look out for yourself and make sure you're taking care of yourself and keeping yourself healthy. That's how you stay on the field.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Great show.
That's all I have to say about that.
I already have our why would you do that for next week, and you guys are gonna have a field day with this one. Our buddy Jeff Fry has already shared this, so it's nothing. It's been out there a little bit, and it's it's ridiculous. And I cannot wait to show people this.
I think we're just gonna keep using a lot of Jeff's, because Jeff posts them. He makes have a quick quip, but he doesn't. We'll break them down for him. No problem. I think it's fun. All right,
everybody. See you next week.